My book is about fractal optimism. Fractal optimism is a capability of human beings to change society. And I talk about fractals and quantum politics. Quantum politics speaks about the ability to have a quantum leap. How do we understand the interconnections of human beings? This interconnection comes from our understanding of the planet Earth and the universe. Enlightenment thinking was based on materialism, matter. Even those who call themselves Marxists based it on dialectical materialism. And dialectical materialism was based on stages of development from one stage to the next. Communalism, slavery, capitalism, socialism, communism. What my book argues is that concept of development and progress comes out of Newtonian physics, comes out of dichotomies, separation. And we're trying to come together, understand the connectedness. In quantum physics, we understand that if a butterfly flaps its wings in Australia, we feel the effect here in Kenya, that we are all interconnected. So the separation and segmentation that we have had from European thinking would not have allowed us to have the advanced technologies that we have today. But we're living in an era of advanced technologies, but we want to go back to the ideas of 19th and 18th century Europe about individualism and capitalism and democracy, which is not real democracy, because you cannot have democracy in a society when 1% of the population controls the wealth. So, has Obama been able to challenge capitalism? Of course not. Obama was not elected to challenge capitalism. There was a capitalist crisis in the United States of America. In fact, the conditions for black people have worsened under Obama. The Justice Department go out and arrest more black people. There are more immigration raids under Obama. And there's a little clip where, you know, Michelle Obama turned to her husband and said, I thought when we were thinking about this, you were against the war in Afghanistan and you were against the war in Iraq. I thought you were against all the wars. And the answer to her was, I am the President of the United States of America. And Africa does not want development. I will not talk about development to you, because Africa does not want, I'm against development. I'm against progress. Because development and progress tells us that we must be like Europe. What we want is structural transformation of our economies so we can be transformed, so the economy serves human beings. How many of you are talking about the banks? That's a question you asked me about Wall Street. Because Wall Street needs to be controlled. The banking system needs to be restructured so that the bank serves people. And the same thing happens in Kenya. The number one problem of the politics of Kenya is the control of the banks as an instrument to take resources out of Kenya overseas. The politicians are bought by the banks. And if you do not have the banks on your radar scheme, then you're not having politics on the radar scheme. FRACTALZ. Go and look it up. It's the geometry that allows us to have the computer. You peel off one section of the cauliflower, the other section looks like it's self-similarity. These are the 5 elements of fractals: self-similarity, scaling, recursion, fractals, and infinity. The Greeks abolished infinity because they thought humans should be able to dominate the earth. Fractal geometry say that we are part of a wider universe. So this Ubuntu is linked to a thinking about us being human beings. Now, as the election of Barack Obama changed relations in the United States of America, yes, it's changed it for the worse. It changed it for the worse because Obama was elected in the United States of America, and we have a group of people in the United States called the Tea Party. You ever heard about them? The Tea Party is seeking to dominate the political space in the United States of America. What do the Tea Party say? America is powerful. America must exercise its power in the world. That we must be a Christian nation. And the generals in the army, there was an article by Seymour Hersh, how these generals see themselves as crusaders. Obama cannot stop the war in Afghanistan and Iraq without a peace movement. And it would be naive to think that Barack Obama, as president, could change the direction of American policy without an organized peace force outside.
With men into sort of, it doesn't talk about the woman and the value of the woman. It talks about the woman in relation to the man and how we need to beat the man. How detrimental do you think that's been or not been to women in the struggle for women? I'm a generation that was in high school when the Moi government took a lot of people to prison. So basically, most of us of my generation, we feel like orphans, intellectual, moral, spiritual orphans. So for me, I'm just wondering whether the revolution that will bring the next Obama, I don't see myself being there.
I need to be convinced that to me, Obama, the way you're putting that book, what I was seeing is that like, you are bringing to face of Obama as somebody who actually is the pillar of that so-called revolution, which is not as a priority. That's what people see at the face value.
Horace Campell. First of all, I'm very, very privileged to meet you again, because I met you in this hall 25 years ago. So that when I see that book which you are writing here on Obama, I'm really optimistic. I'm sure it will be a great contribution to us Marxists to understand how the Marxists in the United States of America, revolutionaries, how they understand this important historical moment that has brought Obama to be, because it is indeed a historical moment.
And many people have argued on that political power in America is a military project. And it's very happy because you have brought this discourse to us. Very few people have courage here to say Obama is not really a revolutionary. Very few people. And for me, is to you this. You are in Nigeria, in university, you travel there, what you are calling grounding with the Nigerian students and remembering of Walter Rodney. May I tell you, like the student who told you in Nigeria, Ubuntu is dogmatic consciousness.
We do not accept the idea that we have to go through the stage of capitalism to come to socialism and the ideas of the development of the productive forces. We do not accept those ideas because that's why the book discusses in great detail how a certain part of the Marxist project coincides with Newtonian physics. And what you call Ubuntu Gacheke cannot be dogmatic, because our humanity, there's nothing dogmatic about our humanity. But so many people are afraid of Ubuntu because they're afraid of revealing themselves as human beings. Women are more than sexual objects. So the feminist movement arose as part of a liberation project to free women and emancipate men. Because the emancipation of men comes out of releasing them from the ideas of patriarchy and domination of women. So the feminist movement have always been in Africa. The basic principle of the feminist movement in Africa comes from the goddess principle. What is the goddess principle? The goddess principle says that in our spiritual reflection, we democratize religion. You will not understand the movement that created Barack Obama if you focus on it. Somehow we have more mature persons like Fidel Castro. Friends who went to see Fidel Castro, he read Dreams from My Fathers, and every line of that book is underlined because Fidel Castro understood the moment that created Barack Obama. So Fidel Castro does not want to be involved in anything that gives ammunition to the right wing to fight Barack Obama. That is political maturity. Political immaturity is to say, oh, we are anti-imperialists. We have these anti-imperialists in Africa who support Laurent Gbagbo. And Laurent Gbagbo say that people from the north are not Ivorians, and so because they're anti-imperialists, we are against Ouattara because we oppose to France. It's like my anti-imperialist friends who say that they oppose to the British and therefore they support Robert Mugabe. Lead me from those anti-imperialists. Robert Mugabe, if you are with him and he's a revolutionary, I am against those revolutionaries. But land is very important to Africans. Yes, land is important to Africans because it is where our homes are. But Africans never had a sense of individual ownership of land. Otio, do you hear me? Africans had a collective sense of land. Land belonged to the community, belonged to those who are to be born. So this private property in land on which capitalism is based is what Robert Mugabe is pushing. And by the way, my sister, I do not use the term humanitarianism. Obama is not a humanitarian. It's a human being, binadamu. Humanitarianism is the language of imperialism. Humanitarianism is something that they want to come here and to tell us they want to help us when we cannot help ourselves. We're talking about being a human being. So I was not using the language of humanitarianism. What I would say is that no, Barack Obama could not bring about a healthcare bill because he felt very strongly about it and he put it forward. But the balance of political forces in the United States require that the forces that were mobilized for the election continue to be mobilized. Instead, some of the people who were mobilized silence themselves and say, okay, Barack Obama is the White House, so Barack Obama will do this or Barack Obama will do that. I'm not looking for Barack Obama to do anything. He could only do as much as we do. Now, how do we open the spaces? And in opening the spaces, how do we precipitate that leap? And that leap is the basis of flying. How will the children fly?